Hey, welcome to Healed Part 5. So far, we've talked about the fact that Jesus wants to reveal to us the unhealthy things that need to be removed from our lives. Then he wants to show us what he wants to replace those unhealthy things with. Jesus is willing to heal us if we are willing to be healed. And he wants to give us a plan to put these things into action in our lives. Today, we're going to talk about the reality that Jesus is going to do this, but it's going to be a process. It's not just going to happen overnight. To introduce this, I want to talk about a passage in the Bible. Now, if you're familiar with the book of Exodus, you know that it's the story of how God took his people, the Israelites, and he brought them into this promised land, this area of Israel, or area known as Israel today. And it was a land that had been occupied by a lot of different people. Now, these people were really wicked in nature. In fact, it says that they did practices that would just boggle our minds today, right? They did wicked and evil things. They would sacrifice their children to their gods. They practiced all kinds of sexual immorality. They worshiped all of these false demonic gods, and just everything in their lives revolved around things that were just really gross to God and completely against his holy nature. So God promised that he was going to bring the Israelites into this land and that he was going to give them this entire territory. However, in Exodus chapter 23, verse 29, he says something kind of interesting. He says, "But I will not drive them out in a single year, because the land would become desolate and the wild animals would multiply and threaten you. I will drive them out a little at a time until your population has increased enough to take possession of the land." So what was God saying here? God was saying, yes, there are things going on in this land that shouldn't be there. There are evil, wicked practices that I do not condone. In fact, I want them completely eradicated and eliminated. However, you're not strong enough to do this all at once. How many times have you made a decision in your life and you've said, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with this relationship, or I'm done with eating this way, or I'm done with pornography, or I'm done having this mindset, whatever it might be. And you've just made this big proclamation to yourself, I'm going to change today. And so then you tried to put all of these things, this huge plan, into action all at once. Well, what happened? Good chances you failed, and you probably failed miserably. And after you failed, you felt defeated. You felt like, you know what, I can't actually do this. It's pointless to even try. This is too big of an issue. I can't do this on my own. And that's true. You can't do it on your own. But the other thing is, you also can't do it all at once. What was God saying to the Israelites? What he was saying to them was, you know what? If you will take the plan that I have given you, which is coming into the promised land, and you will follow me step by step, I will lead you and guide you and show you how to implement your plan piece by piece. But you're only going to take possession of the land at the ability and the rate that you're going to be able to remain successful, because I don't want to overwhelm you. Because if I just threw you into the promised land and all of a sudden all these people were gone and you had this whole land before you, well, all of the crops are going to grow wild, animals are going to come in, and you're going to find yourselves fighting to just survive instead of being able to thrive. So in my own personal life, the way that this looked was about 6 years ago. Whenever I began my journey of weight loss and transformation, the Lord gave me a plan, but He had also allowed me to read a really important book called The Compound Effect. And The Compound Effect is a book about how little steps taken little by little consistently lead to great changes. And really it was a book about business and finances, but I found that it applied directly to my spiritual life as well. Because just like compounding interest over time can go from having a very small amount of money to after 30 or 40 years making you a millionaire, taking little consistent steps spiritually and physically every single day can lead to great changes and transformation over a period of months and years. So for me, I decided that I was going to start doing things in 3 to 4 week intervals. Instead of trying to make all of the changes all at once, which was going to overwhelm me and drive me crazy, I was going to put things into place little by little over time. So the first thing that I did was I wanted to start out with something kind of easy. So I said, all right, I know I need to start going to the gym. So I'm going to focus on going to the gym 5 to 6 times a week for an hour. And so I did that. And that's all I did. I still ate however I wanted to eat. I still ate whenever I wanted to eat. All I focused on for the first 3 to 4 weeks was going to the gym. Because trust me, that was hard enough. But over 3 to 4 weeks, I got into this habit, into this flow. And I was ready to focus my mental energies on something else. So I said, okay, I know that I need to drink more water. So for the next 3 to 4 weeks, I'm going to focus on drinking a gallon of water a day. Well, now, by this point, going to the gym was starting to become kind of habit, ritual, second nature. So now I was able to focus a lot of my energy on drinking this water because, trust me, that was hard to get myself into that habit every single day. Well, now I'm 6 to 8 weeks into the process, and I'm going to the gym, and I'm drinking water, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better. So then I knew I was ready for a bigger task. So I said, okay, now I'm going to cut out sweets. Oh my goodness, that was so hard. I knew it was going to be a bigger issue for me, so I gave myself 6 weeks instead of 3 to 4 weeks. And for the 6 weeks, all I focused on was not eating sweets. I wasn't eating candy anymore. I wasn't eating the sugary stuff that I was used to. No more drinking soda. Holy cow, that was hard. But as I added that on to going to the gym and drinking the water was really making me feel more full, so I wasn't constantly hungry all the time and craving the sugary stuff. And so after 6 to 8 weeks, I began to be set free from that need of sugar. And then that allowed me to begin to address other areas of change that were on my plan that I could put into place. So that plan that you created after video 4, this is when you begin to implement it. But you want to do it little by little. And you want to give yourself adequate time to get used to doing one thing before you move on to the next thing. Think about this. If all you did was implement one change of your plan one time a month, after a year, you would have made 12 changes. After 2 years, you would have made 24 changes. Can you imagine how different your life would look like in 2 years if you made 24 changes in your life? That would be huge. You'd be able to implement any plan that Jesus has for your life. Now, the reason for this principle is as scientific as it is spiritual. Anytime you have a thought, your brain makes a connection known as a synapse. A synapse is simply a thought that occurs, and it creates this electrical circuit in your brain. Now, the amazing thing about how our brains are wired is that we can actually create a thought process and a habit just based on having a thought and having that thought over and over and over and doing the same behavior over and over and over again. In fact, that's how you create routine, habits, even addiction. The more you do something, the stronger that synapse or that connection in your brain becomes. However, the opposite is also true. You have the power to rewire your brain, to physically rewire it. So if you stop a behavior or you stop a pattern of thinking, over time, that synapse will erode and become weaker and weaker, and it will even become detached so that it no longer exists. So let's say that you want to change your behavior over time. And so you give yourself that 3 to 4 week period. Well, over that 3 to 4 weeks, that synapse in your brain actually comes undone so that you do not have that natural tendency to keep going there. But it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to break a habit. However, to create a new habit actually takes around 90 days. So you want to keep it ongoing steadily day by day. But after about 3 months, your body just naturally will begin to do that. And if you take a day off, you'll find yourself wanting and almost needing to do it because it just becomes this natural neural pathway. It's called neuroplasticity. It's a big term, I know. You can check out Dr. Caroline Leaf. She has a whole teaching on this concept. But it's just as physically proven as it is spiritually proven. So as you begin to do these steps little by little, you're going to break those old ways of doing things and you're going to establish new ways of doing it, but you're going to do this in a process that's going to allow you to remain successful. So as we get ready to close this video, I want you to think about what is your plan. You have your goals. What are your action steps? And now I want you to prioritize which ones are you going to do. Pick the one that you're going to do first, the one that you're going to do second, the one that you're going to do third, but mark on your calendar, give yourself a month before you add on anything new. I want you to do that right now.